We're going to get to David in kind of a roundabout way this morning, but if you could you please throw the Bible verse that Scott just read. Could you put that back up there real quick? This is from the English Standard Version, and I wanted to kind of live in this text for a few minutes this morning. Come and hear, all you who fear God, and I will tell you what he has done for my soul. I cried to him with my mouth, and high praise was on my tongue. See, I am thrilled to have been a part of kind of Taylor's story and my story, and they kind of intercrossed, and that opened my eyes to kind of the power of music sung. You know, like we all know music at a soundtrack, at a great movie, or at a concert that you've been to. But when it becomes internal and it flows out of you, something shifts, something comes uncorked in your soul, and it does something fantastic. And I wanted to really kind of zone in on this psalm because of the first part, what he has done for my soul. This is a psalm written from the perspective of the psalmist is writing to other people. As in, you listen to me for what I'm going to tell you. And what comes first is this guy is going to tell what God has done for his soul. Now, we all have pretty good lives. I mean, we have our ups and downs. But generally speaking, our lives are pretty good. But you know what? Having a pretty good life, that's not a big selling point when we're sharing the gospel. What is it that God asks us to tell when he asks us to take the gospel, to take the good news to all creation? He is asking us to share what God has done in your soul and what God has done for your soul and what God has done to your soul and how God moves and how he is shaped. And you all have a faith story. Yes? You're here. You have a faith story of some sort. And being able to bring that out and to share what God has done, that is one of the most powerful things you could do. I love Mick. He's a fantastic preacher. I love being here and diving into God's Word and preparing sermons, but both of us put together cannot be the witness that Elsa Waycaster is when she shows up this morning. Amen? That's what God does. That's what God does. And I want you to notice the two ways that this psalmist is going to tell what God has done for his soul. First, I cried out to him with my mouth. And the second is, high praise was on my tongue. Crying out to God with your mouth, that kind of language evokes, I'm in a dark place, or I'm in an emotional place, and I'm at the end. I'm at the end of my rope. It's coming unraveled. I got nothing left. I got one foot on a banana peel and the other one's up in the air. We're at that kind of moment. And I just need to say to God, I need to cry out to him, Lord, I need you. Every hour I need you. Lord, I need you. Every hour I need you. See, when that's kind of the reaction, when that's where we go, that speaks to what he has done for our soul. Because only somebody whose soul has been transformed and moved and shaped into the image of God further and further along that journey, only someone like that can cry out with his mouth, and that is a reflection of God. That in itself is a witness. The fact that you are crying out is a witness. It doesn't so much matter what you say, as much as the very act of doing it is a witness to what God has done for your soul. And the second one, high praise was on my tongue. Now, the way that kind of breaks down in English, the words behind it would seem to indicate that the praise there is talking about music and singing. This is something that's going to erupt out of me because I can't help but sing. There's a reason why the word praise is used, and it's translated high praise, extolling in some versions. But I kind of dug on that, and as I was preparing for this and living in this text, it made me think, is there low praise? Because we can give low praise to lots of things. I love a good hamburger, right? That was the best tee shot I've ever hit. I think I've yet to say that. Or those presents were amazing. Or that steak was phenomenal. Or you fill in the blank of the things that get our low praise. But our high praise, that's something different. That's a different animal. And since we're in this mindset and living in this moment of worship through song this morning, I wanted to maybe not go as long and err on the side of let's sing more and have Duncan talk less. And so it's that second one that I really wanted to bear down on. See, I want you to, in order to get us to this next point, I want you to think with me, okay? You're in your car. You're with some friends. Maybe your husband and your wife. Maybe your kids. It's a beautiful day. It's 72. It's sunny, right? And you decide we're going to roll the windows down. And so you roll the windows down. And you turn on the radio. And a song comes on. And you all look at each other. And you know what's about to happen. You're going to do this right here. It is going up, baby. And you all, before you know it, you start belting out. And you are singing as everybody in the car is singing as loud as you can. And then you get to a stoplight and the people next to you are like, you're weird. That never happens to anybody, right? Okay, just me? Good. Here's my question. What is that song? What is that song? That's not rhetorical. I'm asking. Yell it out. What's that song for you? Yes! Galileo, Galileo, Galileo Figaro. It's awesome. How can you not love that song? What else? Hello. I have no idea what that song is, but that's great too. Oh, yeah, Adele. I got this great game. You remember Taylor Swift or Lamentations? I got another one called Adele or David. We're not going to do it now, but I just want you to just put that right back here. It's coming. What's another song? Yes! What's another one? What is it? 4. Roar! Roar! Absolutely. Brown-eyed girl. American Pie. Bye, bye, this American. I ought to stop. Isn't that fun? I mean, that's the kind of thing that happens when music kind of gets into it connects with the DNA, the thing that's in your DNA already. And those are all just songs we hear on the radio. If you're a K-Love fan or an Air One fan, you might have heard Good, Good Father recently. That's one that just zings me. I mean, I hear that and it's going up and I don't care who's listening. Okay, but there are the praise versions of that. There are the praise, the specifically written to God versions of that. Of Roar and Brown-Eyed Girl and what is one you said? Hello. There are praise versions of that. I thought there's two. Let's talk about morning and evening, okay? Because that's biblical. Do you have a song in the morning? Listen to this. There's a passage. Psalm 59:16, but I will sing of your strength, I will sing aloud of your steadfast love in the morning. There's an artist named Nicole Nordeman who has a song called Mercy's New. And it is that song that is my song in the morning, particularly after a day or a night when I've just blown it, because the sun always rises. And I see your mercies new every morning. In fact, in Micah 7:18, it says, God delights to show us mercy. And that's new as sure as the dawn is coming. But there's another passage in another psalm that says this, Psalm 77, 3-6. When I remember God, I moan. When I meditate, my spirit faints. You hold my eyelids open. I'm so troubled that I cannot speak. Who's been there? I consider the days of old, the years of long ago, and I said, let me remember my song in the night. Do you have a song in the night? The one that you just can't. I do too. The one that you just, you wake up and you need the song. And it does this thing. It calms you. And yet it opens you. This one's not about me, okay? It's about my kids. But when Soren, right up until really a few months ago, sometimes, he's wired and he has trouble going to sleep, and sometimes he's in a bad mood and overly tired. And you know how when some of those kids, they're so tired, they're not tired? Ugh. Well, one night I'm reading to him, and I get done with the book, and I say, okay, light's going off, and he says, Dad, can you tell me a story? I like stories. I like telling him stories. So I told him a story, and after I was done with the story, the end, he goes, we sat there for a few minutes in the dark, and he said, Dad, can you sing me a song? Sure. What would you like to hear, son? I'm taking requests. How great is our God? How can I not sing that? And before I could even get the first note out, he's crawling out of bed and into my lap. And doing this right here on me. And the chair is not made for that, the one I'm sitting in. So I stand up and I'm carrying him around the room singing, the splendor of a king, clothed in majesty, let all the earth rejoice, all the earth rejoice. How great is our God. And you know what? In about 2 minutes, that dude was out. And the next night, it was the same thing. And the next night, it was the same thing. And for about a month or two straight, I would hold him. It became part of the ritual. Book, story, how great is our God? Every time. Now, my daughter, who had just turned 1, she is getting a whole mouthful of teeth. And if you've ever had a kid who has teeth, you know that that is a harrowing exercise. Okay? Because she does not sleep well, and my wife could tell this part way better than I could, because bless her, I married Superwoman. I just want you to know that. But sometimes when she wakes up about an hour to an hour and a half after we put her down, I go in there and I pick her up and hold her and start to sing. And I thought, hey, how great is our God? This will work. And I start singing, how great is our God? And she went, yeah! I mean, she wanted none of it. None of it at all. And I thought, okay, well, and here, the first song that came to my head was Ode to Joy. And I didn't even remember the words. I just started singing. And she calmed down. God of glory, Lord of love, art hearts unfold like flowers before the opening to the sun above. And she went out. Now, all the love in the world for Chris Tomlin, but my daughter prefers Beethoven. And those are their songs in the night. Do you have a How Great Is Our God? Do you have an Ode to Joy? Do you have a song in the night that you are, when nothing seems to make sense, when it is all just up in the air, or maybe it's not even chaotic in a morally sinful way, maybe it's just I am at the end of stressful life. I'm being pulled in 1,000 different directions all at once, and I just don't know which way to go. If you've ever been in that spot, you need a song in the night. See, the singing, actual notes of melodies coming out of your mouth, when you end the song, that will stop. But according to this, the very act of crying out to him and the very act of the high praise is on my tongue, it never stops. The praise goes on because your life goes on. Your life is the song. Your life is the praise. And when the burning bush happened, the praise went on. And when they walked through the Red Sea, the praise went on. And when Joshua entered the land and the river stopped, the praise went on. And when the kings were appointed, when David was appointed, the praise hit a new gear. And in 400 years of biblical silence, they never stopped singing. Ever. Now, this is cool, okay? This psalm that we're in, 66, is kind of broken down into 3 parts. The part that this verse is in the 3rd part. And it starts with, "Come and hear, all you who fear God." He's talking to the family of faith right here, yes? But if you back up to verse 8, we don't have a slide for this, but I just want you to see it. If you back up to verse 8, it starts with, this is the 2nd section of the psalm, and it starts with, "O peoples, bless our God, O peoples." As in everybody. And if you back up to the very first verse of the psalm, in the first section of this psalm, it says, "Shout for joy to God, all the earth." Now, normally you might read that and go, it's metatomically talking about the peoples on the earth. Maybe. But I started thinking, does the earth have a sound? You've all seen a picture of Earth from space. But does the earth have a sound? Turns out it does. So the earth has a north and a south pole, and out of those poles come a bunch of magnetic forces. In addition to that, there are these things called the Van Allen belts, which are basically a bunch of electrons and neutrons floating out there in space, but they loosely follow the magnetic fields. And the good folks at NASA created this thing called the Voyager, which is a space probe. Right now, it's way out there past the solar system. But it was launched a little later in the year in 1977, so I've got a year on it. And it has about 4 different kinds of antennas that receive different types of information. And so the Earth, as it orbits the sun and as it turns on its axis, it disturbs the magnetic fields around the rest of around it. And you don't need a science lesson here, but I want you to know that creates movement of particles. And that movement of particles is what the Voyager picks up and receives. And then it translates them into audible signals that we can hear with our ears. It's not just Earth. It's also done this for Saturn, for Jupiter, for Uranus, for a whole bunch of other stuff. And we're not going to play any of those this morning. But I just want you to know that the Earth has a sound and it never quits. Its praise is going on 24/7, 365, and has been so since the dawn of time. Do you want to know what the Earth sounds like? I do too. I want you to play that little video. You can turn it up a bit. Listen close. Wow. Did you know that was happening? It's happening all the time because the praise never stops. I think you'd be hard-pressed to show that that was, music. But it's speaking. Just like David said in Psalm 19, the heavens declare the glory of God. The trees, the fish, the moon, the stars, the sun, the oceans, the waves, the whales, the pulsars in deep space, they all are declaring the wonder and the glory of God. And that's tremendous that we get to join in this tiny little part of this chorus and sing, holy, holy, holy.